Hello, everyone. It's Corey. I should say hello, true believers, as I start most of my blog post with. Um, Tonight, I'm gonna do something a little different, due to the slight disorientation feeling I'm still having from yesterday's my first EMDR session. Um, it's slight orientation and trying to type is probably not going to work for me, and to you all, it's probably going to look Kryptonian. Had to throw a Superman reference in there. You know me. So I thought I would just do a video blog. And first, I've been trying to do it, so I'm trying to cover all my bases. But I really would like to give a huge thank you. Um, Many of you have reached out to me, text, Kick Messenger, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Under Armour. Love that site. Uh, I'm forgetting something. Instagram, uh, my fitness pal, have reached out to me and just a huge outpouring of love and encouragement. I'm pretty a transparent person, and talking about my recent diagnosis of meeting with a psychiatrist of bipolar and PTSD. And again, I say diagnosis because they don't define me. I define me. Uh, and I've been pretty transparent about it because, the bottom line is I post videos every day of when I work out, of trying to shape my body to the way I think I deserve to have it. Um, I don't see a reason to hide behind shaping the most important muscle in my body, and that's my brain and my psyche. So I really don't see it as being brave, and I've heard that term tossed around a lot, and it means something to me. So I really just want to say thank you. Um, as a special on top of that, shout out to a group of people who I have some experience with EMDR that I reached out to, and I want to say thank you to Gabriella, Candace, Nora, Shannon, and most importantly, my wife Damari, because she has to put up with me every second of every day, and I'm a special breed of a mess for her to deal with. And it's funny, we were talking today, and people had, I had sent her a couple of websites, and friends had been reaching out to her about how to handle me after the first EMDR session. And we were talking today, actually a few minutes ago, and she was saying how she really felt like she hadn't done anything special for me. And I was very quick to respond to her. She didn't have to. She treated me yesterday like she's always treated me, and that's as a phenomenal wife and a best friend. She didn't have to change up anything because that's just how she treats me every day. She never pressured me to talk about it. She let me just be me, to just chill. We chilled together and watched a movie together, and it was, cuddled in bed, and that was it. There was nothing she needed to be, because she's always a phenomenal person anyway. So I need to get those thank yous out of the way, because I only stand here because I stand on the shoulders of some phenomenal people. Uh, that being said, so when I started this therapy, psychiatrist, I don't know why I keep wanting to say psychotherapy, which that may be, but I don't like to confuse terms. My psychiatrist, about a month ago, it was, I told my wife, I said, something's wrong with me. I don't process things from my childhood, and there's a multitude of things from my childhood that the way normal people do. Positive things in my life, and if you can see some of the medals in the background, and here's the big wall over here of marathons, of the full marathons. um, I have some things to be proud of. And I've been a runner, for 6 years now, and this is the stuff I've accomplished. Beyond that, as a being married, being a father, these are things I'm proud. I get absolutely. You can take my man card for saying this. I get giddy every time Damari's talking to somebody and I hear her say my husband. that is a wonderful title. I'm proud of every second of every day, and I get giddy when I hear her say that. But when I recall these memories, it's like being on a train. I'm on the train, and the good memories just sort of go by, which is how most people process any memory. The problem is the many, many traumatic events of abuse, sexual molestation, um, abuse. I get stuck when I think of those. I still see. I can vividly recall every minor, which I wasn't really aware that I could do that until this session. Every minor detail, the color of the walls, the smell of the room, the facial expression in the cases was going in situations were going on, physically how I felt. My heart starts to not necessarily race but pound hard. My ears get warm, and I start ringing in them. My hands shake, and it's very real. It's not a memory. I'm stuck in it, and I'm living it, and that's the PTSD, the post traumatic stress disorder part of it. And it's and I had a stress induced heart attack this past September, and all I kept hearing from my primary care doctor, my cardiologist, and the team was like, "You're in the bed." And I had just had a physical that literally showed my blood work that I they were like, "Dude, you're 42 and you're better shape than 22-year-olds." So they're like, "This is pure stress, and you've got to find a way of alleviating it." And I kind of just chugged along from last September because I really was just I didn't know. I don't know. I know people who have had heart attacks. I don't know many people who can say they have zero blockage in the arteries of their heart. Their heart is in wonderful condition, and stress brought them here. I actually don't know anyone else that can say that, so I haven't really discussed it. Because I kind of feel like people look at me like, "What's your problem? Stress, get over it." So I really have been quiet about that. And I just got to a point I was telling my wife, I said, I got to do something about this. I'm on my way to a second one, and I don't know if I'm going to survive it. By God's grace, I barely survived the last one. And I just knew something had to change, and I knew part of it was bipolar, because if I had a great day, man, I was soaring. And I mean, some of these races are some of those days, and I was killing it. And there's times I go running when the crash happens, and I can run a half marathon, average 9 minutes a mile, come in under a sub 2 hour half marathon, and then I'll go out here and run 3 miles, and I'm averaging 12-minute mile, and I'm struggling. And those were those days, and it got to the point where the mania of the bipolar, when you're really high, I was scared. By the way, 26.2 in Roman numerals, date of my first full marathon. The mania, I got so scared because I knew that crash was coming, and I knew it was gonna wreck me, shut me down, and I just knew it was coming. So dealing with starting this a month ago, it was nice because I did get put on some medication. One was to not necessarily help me sleep, because that's the thing. I could sit down anywhere on this planet or lay down, and you give me 3 uninterrupted minutes and I'm snoring. The problem is I couldn't stay asleep. My mind would start to race into a million things. So I have Seroquel, I may be pronouncing it wrong, 25 milligrams. And I mean, from day one I took it, when I met my psychiatrist, it worked wonders. I slept through the night. I had deep sleep. Even my, sleep tracker, my Garmin Vivo Active, was recording like 5 hours of deep sleep, like an hour of light sleep, which usually records the other way. And then I have Lamictal, I probably pronounced that wrong. And I started slow. They started me slow to build up because of the potential side effects, to now where it's 100 milligrams a day. 100 milligrams a day, and that's that helps. What I like to say is evening me out. It evens me out. I don't have, if something's going great, I am not what jacked up here, and if something goes horrible along my day, I don't just drop to where it is the end of the world and I'm a moron for letting this happen. It really, there's been some bad things that happen, there's been some good things that happen, and I've noticed my reaction is just like, okay, cool, take a moment to be proud of the good things, and something bad happens, just handle it and go on. So starting this and meeting with my psychiatrist, she said, and she does a lot of work at the Veterans Hospital here. Um, and she was giving me her credentials, which I actually very much appreciate, because I don't think we do that when we go see a doctor of any type. We don't ask them their credentials. We don't ask them their history. We don't hold them accountable. We just kind of make an appointment and just trust whatever they tell us. So I actually appreciate it. She went the extra step of going through her credentials and what she does and her experience. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think of asking that of any doctor. And here's someone volunteering the information. Well, she said she thought I was a prime candidate for EMDR, eye movement desensitization, and I should know this, but I'm totally gonna look it up real quick on my phone, and I'm totally not stalling at all. Really not stalling. Totally nuts. There we go. So I want to say it's eye movement desensitization and all right. Sing the Star Spangled Banner here. All right, it's coming up. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I would have never guessed that right. And she said, I think it'll help you with because she said, different than most people who suffer from PTSD, there's set one or two or maybe three or four hardcore events that there's a specific pinpoint focus in time that a trauma happened. My case, it's what most people call a childhood is just one long series of traumas. And I'm really not going to get into too many of those, just because as I'm just starting the EMDR, I really don't want to. I'll talk about the ones that we talked about yesterday, but I don't want to go back to those because I don't want to get stuck. So we still had a couple more sessions where, we talked about how to handle my abusers and the trauma present tense and going forward. And she gave me some wonderful tools that I used to tell my wife about. And I really felt, a couple of times conflicts happened. I really felt like, man, I've got this. Like it was like, and I was cool. And I mean, I was giddy about it. And I texted a handful of friends that I truly love. And I was like, I don't even understand this feeling. And so she had felt like I had a good handle on the present and future in dealing with those abusers and traumas. But now it was time to start peeling back the onion and ripping the Band-Aid off to dealing with the past. So, walked in the office yesterday, and only way to describe it is imagine a sound bar. And I'm looking at mine, if you've got a surround sound speaker at home, a sound bar, except it was probably about this thin, and it just went across that far. It was on a tripod, and then like 4 or 5, it was, straight line of LED lights, and they go back and forth. The only thing I could think of was Kit from Knight Rider, Nine Industries 2000. Yep, total sci-fi geek. Going back and forth. And then I had headphones that, as the lights went back and forth, when it went to that side, it beeped here. When it to this side, it beeped here, and it would go back and forth. And I had these two, best way to describe it is sort of pear-shaped, like that big around, one in each hand. As it went to that side, this one vibrated. As it went to this side, this one vibrated. You see where I'm going with this. So it was in 30-second increments, and she had given me homework last week of pick my worst probably childhood abuse trauma, and we'd start there. And let me tell you, when you got a lot to choose from, that is not as easy as you think it is. Because there's a lot to choose from. And I really went to the one that sort of started it all. And that was being 5 and blatantly being told I was a mistake. And then when trying to ask about it, getting beat with wooden spoon and an extension cord. And that sort of led to a lot of other things in my life. So we're doing this, and she's telling me to think about it, and I'm following the lights. Like, you can't turn your head. It's literally almost like you're watching a tennis match, or this Bugs Bunny cartoon reference. So I did it, and I'm not gonna BS you. I'm doing this, and I'm kind of like, okay, like I am following instructions, but I don't understand. So we stop after 30 seconds. She wanted me to play the memory through in its entirety, which was hard because my heart's pounding. I can see it. Every single detail. She's having me discuss that. Well, then it stopped, and she said, she'd ask me, where are you now? And I would explain, and she said, okay, go with that. And we'd start the process with the lights again in the earphone and the hand thing. 30 more seconds, same thing. And so this went on, it was explaining the memory. And I've got some friends who've done EMDR or have experience with people who've done EMDR, and they had given me heads up. They were like, don't drive. It's going to be impossible to drive afterwards. You're going to feel disoriented. And as I'm going through this, I was kind of like, I don't feel anything. But I was starting, as we got deeper into it, I noticed I wasn't feeling as tense with some of the stuff we were talking about. And then towards the end, we worked on a treatment for those times I do get stuck in those memories. And the only way I can describe it is she asked me how I felt, and I said tense and tight in my neck and top of the shoulders. And she said, okay, what shape do you associate it with? And because it's the neck and top of my shoulders and the muscles, I said trapezoid. Like I said it, and I was like, did we really say trapezoid? Like, when's the last time we used that word? And she asked me what color I saw it as, and I said solid black. And then, funny, I'm looking at the shirt as I'm about to say this. She said, what color do you associate with healing? And I said blue. Weirdly enough, blue shirt. And she said, okay, I want you to imagine a blue light starting at the top of your head and coming down. And as it gets to your shoulders, it's piercing the black and changing it to blue. And I'm telling this in a fast way. It didn't go this way. It was a lot slower. And she said, okay, I want you to feel it going through your fingertips and coming out. And it's still going down your back. It's going down your legs. It's coming out of your foot. And she's like, that's a light therapy to help you in the future when these times come up. And it was weird. I mean, I was just like, wow. So we talked about it, and I set my next 5 appointments to have this done next 5 weeks. And I thanked her, and I said, I couldn't explain how I felt. I just felt different. I felt some disorientation, but I felt different. And I was like, thank you. And my wife had dropped me off, so it's next to a couple of stores. I told her, I said, I'm gonna walk down there just to walk and come get me. And as I was walking, it just was weird. It was an off feeling, not in a negative way. It was just an off feeling. It was just slight disorientation. The only way I can describe it is, you ever been on a roller coaster that has just jacked you up, and you're like, man, I had a great time. And then you get out and you're walking, and then you go down that ramp and the sun hits your eyes, and there's just a moment of, it was that. And I told her, I said, I feel this way. I'm glad I knew this ahead of time, because I'd have drove to my appointment, and even though the place is only 5 minutes from home, heaven knows what would have happened, me driving back. So, I was prepared for that. And my friends had said, you're going to feel a little bit raw. You're going to feel, you may not feel like talking. And that was that was it to a T. I felt very exposed and very vulnerable because I discussed it. not because of the PTSD. It was because I discussed what was going on, and I really have never openly done that. So I did, and got home, and I didn't really want to talk about it because I really wasn't sure how to talk about it. I wasn't even sure how to talk about how I was feeling. Well, I noticed last night before passing out, because I slept like a rock last night. No dreams, no nothing, but I slept hard. I woke up this morning and I felt different. I have a little, like I said, EMDR hangover right now. And that's it was expected. I knew that was going to happen, but how do I say this? It was like this morning I woke up and I said I really need to. My son has been sick all week. Jarrell, our youngest of 4, we have 3 girls and a boy. He's been sick all week, so as a stay-at-home dad, I've really, he's, which I'm grateful for, is very clingy to dad when he's sick, and I take no stress in that. I mean, these are my children. I love them. So I've been focusing on him, and I haven't worked out at all this week because, one, I wasn't going to take him, to the gym with other, and heaven forbid get other kids sick, because that's not fair. And 2, he was very clingy, and so it wasn't like I could even use the home gym. And he was only taking naps in like 15-minute increments before he'd wake up, and his throat was bothering me. He had the sores on his tongue, and he's fine now. So today was really the first time he was his normal self, climbing in his high chair and doing his little walk where he does like this and just looking at me. And he tries to roll his eyes, but he does this. He just blinks a lot, and it's the cutest thing in the world. And my wife was like, okay, he feels better. And I said, you know what? I woke up this morning. I said, I need to go on a run. I need to stretch my legs physically and literally and figuratively is probably the best way to describe that. And I get that peace. No one's around. I don't run with music. It was oh my goodness, it was like 70 something. It was gorgeous and understand, in Louisville, Kentucky, for being mid to late August, and it's like 70 something degrees. Man, that's a gift right there. And I said, yeah, I'm going to take, loaded Jarrell up in the stroller. We got a new jogging stroller, loaded him up, said, all right, we'll go. That's my routine. It's our time together. So, I did about 5 miles. I think I posted the video where I posted the time. I don't know. I didn't really care. But it was just like, that feeling of being out there, that feeling of running, that feeling of putting a pound of feet to pavement, boots to asses, as I like to say. It centers me. I don't have to think. I don't have to talk. There's probably a reason I don't really run with groups. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to keep a certain pace. And with the exception of my son being absolutely adorable, and at least a dozen people stopped to tell me that, including a person who the past 2 times, different person, like past 2 times, have actually yelled in their car across the street to tell me how adorable he is. We're allowed to deal with people. And I get some time for a little bit to think in my head, and then I get some time where my brain just shuts down, and it's miles. It's miles. It's nature. It's face to face with God's work, and it's a wonderful feeling. And I got up today, and it was nice. It really was nice. But what blew my mind is, I think like most people, you start to recollect something major that happened the next day. So I was thinking about the EMDR session, and I reflected back on the specific memories, and I'm doing it right now, and I'm not stuck. Those memories now are like all the good memories of my life. I'm on a train, and they're going by. There's no feeling of I am immersed in it like it is happening right now. It is literally, as I'm talking about it, there's no ear ringing, hands are steady, heart not, shirt not doing this, like Bugs Bunny cartoon. I watch a lot of cartoons as a kid. There's none of that. I'm blown away. I mean, I'll deal with the EMDR hangover if that's what you're going to tell me every time we discuss some of these horrible traumas that I'm free. And I mean, I discussed, like I said, those are the worst. The handful we talked about, those are the worst ones. And I'm chilling. I mean, and I don't know if that's going to last. I know that's one of the reasons you schedule the EMDR sessions so close together, because you almost want to keep that momentum of going. But I got to be honest, I'm a firm believer in this, and I can't wait to see her. You know, she wants me to keep a journal. And I've started that, to keep a journal of things. One, so when feelings or dreams or things like that occur, I just write it down and put it away instead of carrying it even until the next appointment. You know, she said it's not, you know, when you go through that, it's not for you to take it out on your kids, to take it out on your wife, to take it out for yourself. It's for you to write down and deal with it when you sit down on the couch here and we discuss it. She's like, I don't want you to have that burden anymore. And I was, wow. But amazingly, like I said, and I've tried. I mean, I'm when I tell you this, I'm not saying like, oh, I discovered this might work, so I'm scared to try it again because it won't work. I vividly recalled those memories, and there's no, my voice isn't shaking. I'm not on the verge of tears, which I was just last week. And even when I was trying to recollect my most horrible incident, and I that was one I was coming up with, I was still shaking and I was still fighting back tears, and change in mood and change in attitude. And it's like, holy crap, like this legitimately. And you can Google EMDR, you can Google this, and this is something that is approved. I mean, this is something she does with veterans. It's something that's approved by the medical board and especially the psychology community. So it's not a flash in the pan thing, but reading that something really works and something giving me a piece of freedom back is, I mean, I'll be 43 in October, and for 38 years, you've just taken the most hardcore, changed my life. I've been beating myself up, and it's changed it's affected my relationship with every human being on this planet, because I've always felt like I didn't measure up. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like, because I was a mistake, I felt like the sexual abuse that happened to me was God's way of telling me I deserved it. Was like, and even now as I say that, because it was one of the things we talked about, I don't feel like I deserved it. Now, 72 hours ago, I'd have told you flat out I deserved it, because I'm not worthy of love, of anything. And now it's like I don't even have the words, because it's not in my brain anymore. And that's bizarre. I mean, I cannot explain that. I'm even when as I stand here and talk to you, I go to the side, like I'm standing up straight. I laughed because I was walking a Red Box or something to get rent a movie for the kids, and I had to take a step back. I was like, do I have a little swagger in my step? And I think I did, and I was as cool as I can be at 43 and dad of 4. And anyway, it was neat. And even again, as I'm telling you this, I'm still going back to those memories, and it blows my mind. It's a fleeting memory. I'm not stuck there. It's not vivid. It's not encompassing my vision, my hearing, my sense, all of my senses, sense of smell, sense of touch. It's not encompassing that, and that's so, like, that's just, I've been a prisoner in that, for 38 of the 42 years, 30 of the, well, you're gonna be 43, 30 of the 43 years, and I'm not, and I'm ridiculously excited for all of this session, not just the next session, because if this is what it's going to break down to, oh my God, like I may actually have, I don't want to say an ego, because I don't think I'll ever develop that, but I'll actually have positive self-esteem. I'm looking at myself filming this right now, and I was just looking at a picture I had taken Father's Day if anyone follows me on Facebook, that trophy the kids got me, and I saw in my eyes that it just, I was happy because I was loved, but I wasn't happy with myself. And for 30 minutes, I've been looking at myself filming this, and I'm looking at my reflection, and I'm not disgusted. I'm looking at my reflection, and I'm not ashamed for this ridiculously ugly person that I am. I'm not looking at this reflection and doing this video and thinking, oh my goodness, someone's going to see me, and they're going to see me as how I see me, as how I see the true me, as a mistake, and as not worthy of anything, and they're just going to leave me and hurt me. I'm looking at this and I'm like, what's up? I'm equally corny as much as a sci-fi geek. I'm looking at this and I'm kind of like, dude, you're all right. Like, I'm not looking at this going, your face is fat, your ears are too big, your nose is too big, you're slouching. I can think of that word. You don't look like you work, like you're picking every single flaw and blowing it up. I'm looking at this going, dude, where have you been? Like, where this happiness, this calm. I mean, like I said, I'll take an EMDR hangover if my result is, man, like, I'm not victim to those particular traumas we talked about. I'm not unrealistic in the others that I'm still dealing with, but I woke up today a little bit more whole. That's probably the best way to describe it. I woke up today a little bit more whole in who I am, and I really think that change in psyche and mentality, besides the light show, is what's part of that EMDR hangover. There's a true change in the base of my the base of the way I see the world, and the base of the way I see myself, a part of that world. So I'm going to wrap this up, and I want to say thank you to those people who have reached out to me, and I don't want to, put some people on blast, because I know some of those were very private conversations, so you know who you are, and I truly, I love you, and there's a place here for you, and I want to say thank you. Please fire away, the comment section below. You got any questions? I'm transparent. If my story can help somebody to realize that they're not alone, to realize that they're lovable, to realize that they deserve to be loved, then please, by all means, use me as an example. I don't have reach out to me on Under Armour Record, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, MyFitnessPal, whatever you want to. I'm never closed off about this. I'll discuss whatever if you ask me, I'll tell you. It's pretty much a simple thing about it. Much love to you all, and stay good, y'all.